Hello and welcome everyone, it's me, LinkingXU, back again with another draft review and reaction here with the GenG Series T1 versus GenG. So both teams are locked into the playing stage, so we can be quite curious what they have prepared. Of course, the exact positions are not locked in yet, so there's still a lot of room to grow in the standings, but let's dive right into the action. But before we do so, remember to subscribe and like to support my channel and not let it be bullied by the YouTube algorithm. So T1 thinking of locking in the Lee Sin here, and they're doing it. So obviously that is quite the curious idea here. Yes, we're at patch 11.15, where it seems like Lee Sin has grown in popularity all around the world. Teams like EDG in China or even IG there have picked him up for themselves, but Lee Sin as the first pick, well, that can only be something. And GenG's straight up answer of this potential jungler or mid laner here is the Irelia and the Leona. Obviously Irelia has been tweaked a bit after mini rework where she was super powerful, but here I don't know, BDD or Bordeaux getting their hands on something super powerful here with the Irelia. And even the Leona is a sought after pick, so GenG starting quite strong here into the draft phase. T1 on the other side here countering with the Jace Twisted Fate. So Twisted Fate and Jace both have high win rates in the LCK so far, and if we're looking at the players here from T1, Kana and Faker, who are most likely going to pilot these champions, supported by the AD Lee Sin in the jungle in Oner's hands, T1 not only have comfort, not only have something with high win rates, but they've got also something that works well together, right? Early to mid game power here. So GenG has locked in themselves quite a bit of early aggression, and with the bans now attacking the AD carry pool quite heavily. Oh, we see a Xayah pick. Wow. Xayah obviously, as you see here, 0% win rate, only has been picked once. It is not a champion that is prioritized highly or considered good at the moment at all. Takes a lot of time, needs a setup, doesn't have as strong of a laning phase as, well, she used to have. So yeah, Ruler obviously has his own Xayah skin, if I remember correctly. So that will be something to see himself pilot his world's winning champion. And this pick is countered with the Ezreal Trundle bot lane here from T1. It seems T1, they pick everything they want. They get everything they want. I don't know what GenG is doing, picking champions like the Xayah. And yes, Irelia, Leona, Rumble, not weak champions at all. But you can't just give T1 everything. Oner gets his Lee Sin, Kana gets his Jace. Faker, yes, he has many champions in his repertoire, but giving him the Twisted Fate, and now Ezreal and Trundle for a Gumayusi carrier. Ooh, that's brave. You're taking a short overview over the comps. T1 with the Jace, Lee Sin, Twisted Fate, Ezreal and the Trundle. Obviously, as I mentioned, everyone gets comfort or high priority picks here. Yeah, look at these champions, super strong. The mid jungle, top jungle, high damage, good synergy. The bot lane jungle, not that great, but well, what can you say? Strong laning phases in most cases, and then the wake up on the first and second item, oh, super strong. On the other side here we have the GenG comp with Irelia, Rumble, the Syndra for BDD, and the unexpected Xayah pick for Ruler, with Life having locked in the Leona. So they have a lot of picks potential and a lot of burst. They don't have as strong of an early wake up in the 1 to 2 item range. Yes, their level 6s are quite strong, but well, GenG, they have something very solid for the mid and late game stages, if they are not falling too far behind. On the other side, T1 with a very unified comp. Everyone is aggressive early, everyone is strong early, everyone wakes up at the same time, and while obviously Twisted Fate is not known to be the greatest damage dealer in the later stages, and team fighting with Lee Sin is not the easiest thing to do. T1's comp is not falling off a cliff completely in the later stages. Problem is, comparatively to GenG, it will be quite tough. So, will T1 here beat GenG, who are quite comfortably and quite ahead in the standings? Or will GenG defend their high position in the LCK against, 5th place T1? You will find that out on yourself, and we will see each other in the next game. So till then, have a great time. Hope you liked it so far. See you. Welcome back in draft number 2 in our GenG T1 series. As you see on screen, T1 managed to get the first dub in this series after an immaculate game. Not only as a T1 fan, I have to say this was great. Even GenG had some really great plays overall. It was really a back and forth in the gold lead sense, and considering GenG's comp being, as I mentioned, quite better in the 5v5s and the later stages, T1 with better macro play and better individual play from players like Oner, Faker, and even Carrier's Trundle performance again with these pillars so clean. T1 was able to edge out in the end after great team fighting with, well, fewer tools. So let's see the adaptation here of both teams in this second draft and see if T1 can close it out 2-0 or if GenG can make the comeback. So we see here again for GenG high priority on the Leona, this time even first picking it for Life. Yes, Life is a great Leona player, and yes, that was visible in the game as he found many great engages here and there, but first picking it, well, that's a lot of confidence. On the other side, we see the Twisted Fate and Lee Sin again picked up for Faker and Oner. So again, they get their good duo for early mid game and, well, high comfort. This already indicates that T1 with the Twisted Fate has the potential for these 1-3-1 split pushed style comps. So we have to wait and see if T1 can capitalize on this. This time with the Jace being banned, obviously Kana can't get that great of a split pusher into the Irelia. This time here he locks in the Gnar, so that's not a great matchup at all. Yes, he has some harassment potential early on, but also the matchup Gnar into Irelia has not been that great as of late. But obviously with T1's focus on the top side with this new iteration, we can expect 5-4 people showing up in the top side and paying Irelia a visit. So maybe it will not be that bad. We have to wait and see on the execution here for T1. So with all these ADCs here being banned and Ezreal already being picked, let's see what Gumayushi is looking for himself, and it is the Tristana. So as you see, 1 win 4 times being picked. That's not a good statistic, and well, it's quite strange. We don't see that much Tristana in either the mid lane or the bot lane. The 1 win, if you remember, that was Keen picking Tristana top lane against T1. That was the only win Tristana has so far, so that was top lane Tristana. So in either mid or bot, she has not been very successful at all. But this champion obviously fits here thematically into T1's newfound aggressive early to mid game style. But Tristana obviously, if she gets rolling, is a champion that never really stops. On the other side here, GenG looking in the Ryze and the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao strangely having fallen in priority in this series. Usually a pick that is heavily contested and first picked and banned whatsoever. Here, Ryze and Xin Zhao, 2 very contested picks normally, being picked up here in the later half of GenG's comp, getting quite a bit of late game and early game power. T1 rounding up their comp on their side with the Karma in the support position. So with the Tristana Karma, they wish to get more lane priority than they had last time, so they don't want to catch waves on the turret 24/7. With this, T1 has more or less 3 quite strong lanes. We have to see in the mid lane Ryze versus Twisted Fate. Well, with both players also playing quite well in this series today so far, it is quite hard to say who will edge out on top. Obviously Lee Sin and Xin Zhao, also very aggressive and explosive early game jungler, and with both Ryze and Lee Sin offering CC, this will be quite explosive, and the winning side can snowball quite heavily. with, as mentioned, the early gram aggression from their junglers, and Rise and Twisted Fate, of course, with the ultimates, have the roaming potential. So now let's take a look here at the comp that GenG has drafted themselves. Irelia, Xin Zhao, Rise, the Ezreal and the Leona. So with the bot lane, again, stable and strong, mid lane scaling, but not too much pressuring usually. But with the Xin Zhao, there is the potential as mentioned, and the Irelia again in the top lane. Performance was very good in the first game on an individual level. Yes, in the team fights, with the exhaust coming out and the Trundle chomps, Irelia was comfortably dealt with by T1. And on the other side, T1's comp Oner Lee Sin, Twisted Fate, Tristana and Karma, going for quite the powerful lanes, going for quite the good wake-up call on not only level 6, but again with the 1-2 item power spikes in all positions. So they look to sacrifice a bit in the earlier skirmishes, but then use their lane leads, use their good power spikes on 1 and 2 items to not play around the drakes, because that's not what T1 does, but they will probably load more on the top side. This is what their usual style is, but with the Tristana in this game, we might see something different, right? Tristana obviously a very you can't really stress it how strong this champion is in snowballing. It is obviously not the same as Ziggs, but Tristana, if she gets rolling, you will see your turrets falling. So that is one avenue T1 has here as well. Instead of focusing on Kana and crushing the Irelia just like in game number 1, they could go down bot. They don't have a bad bot lane. The Karma obviously can be one-shotted by the GenG bot lane at level 2. They have to be they have to be careful about that. But T1 with a lot of potential. But there's the one thing: the Rise, the Irelia, they are hard outscaling their counterparts. So if T1 falls too far behind, their champions are really getting crushed, right? GenG with the initiate scaling advantage, and then T1's champions, they're not falling off a cliff again, but they're slowly declining in terms of power. Who will be the winner of this one? Again, will GenG be able to equalize the series, or will T1 walk away with the 2-0? Let's wait and see. We obviously have a spicy draft here with both teams having win conditions. It's great. So if you like the content so far or at all, consider giving this video a like. It really helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm really bullying me in these past few weeks. So, and to not miss out on future content just like that, or even better, make sure to subscribe and hang around. But that's it for today. See each other either in game number 3, or most preferably for me, the next day with the next T1 series. So till then, stay safe and goodbye. Hello and welcome in game number 3 of our T1 GenG series. So, well, what a game that was. GenG in game number 2 being able to equalize the series 1-1 on the back of an immaculate Irelia performance. You probably have seen all the highlights on YouTube. So now, well, T1's comp, not bad at all. But in the face of a fat Irelia with 9 or 6 kills, whatever, there was very little they can do. They didn't play perfect, you give them that, but there were some quite unlucky moments, and well, Burbal's Irelia being able to completely capitalize on that, and then taking the game in his own hands. Great performance, but also being set up quite nicely from the get-go with the pick and the free kills, just passing the, 5-minute mark, getting the early triple kill. That's a nice thing to have. But let's look at the draft. If either team can edge out with a tactical advantage for the deciding game. So T1 here again on the blue side with the first pick. Will they pick the Lee Sin again for Oner? I mean, his performance was great, and we see it here again. The Oner Lee Sin, super clean. there were some decision making things in the second game where I don't totally agree with, right? Diving into the enemy backline instead of going for the steal at the Ocean Soul point. Not something I would recommend again, but still very clean performance. You can always count on the mechanical outplays on this champion with him. Wow, GenG, what are you doing? I mean, yeah, you have to ban like these champions, Jace, Renekton, Ziggs, but giving T1 Aphelios Thresh. Ooh, I mean, what GenG has is not bad, but we saw in game number 1 what happens if you give T1 your comfort picks, and the Aphelios Thresh bot lane for T1, well, that's something. Gumayushi made the statement that you have to ban it against T1, and let's see. So GenG here in the second half with, well, they're quite strange comp. Olaf, Lulu, not champions that you usually see, and with still the flex potential in either of these, they lock on the Gragas to continue with these like flex picks, right? Olaf, where can he go? He can go mid lane, he can go top lane, he can go into the jungle. Lulu, similar story, right? Support, mid, top. Gragas also can go everywhere. So yeah, GenG keeping the flex real in face of T1 with all the comfort, right? Lee Sin for Oner, as I mentioned, Aphelios Thresh bot lane. Faker now gets the second most played champion of all time, the Orianna. It's super hard. T1 also like high damage, team fight comp. The early game might not be the best, but now locking in the cannon, which is quite bold. I mean, Kana. Cannon is not really a champion that we see all too often. You see it there, 6 picks and a 50% win rate. Not a huge fan of Cannon at the moment. The IP items that he's building are not in a good spot. So let's take an overview here. T1 Cannon, Lee Sin, Orianna, Aphelios Thresh. High comfort picks for 4 out of 5 players and great teamfight potential. The early game, not that strong, but the laning phases are decent overall. On the other side, with Wukong, Olaf, Lulu, Ezreal and the Gragas, GenG themselves have the potential to take over from the early game with high skirmishing skills in their ultimates or in their combinations, right? Lulu in the mid, a bit more supportive than what you usually see from BDD, which is, it's quite surprising. BDD not really known for these supportive picks that we see usually from Faker and Chovy, and nowadays even sometimes Showmaker. So that's a huge surprise. But, well, how often do we see GenG put everything into the ruler basket? And here again, Burple and Clit, yes, they have the potential to take over in skirmishes early on and then snowball that with the Lulu support, but they're just frontliners later on for rulers Ezreal, and with life on the Gragas, they also have decent playmaking potential there. GenG overall have some nice early tools in the top half of the map, secure bot lane, and then with the Lulu enchanting up the Ezreal, have great power in the later stages. Still, T1 overall though have greater scaling if you're honest. Yes, the Lee Sin, bit more questionable, but we've talked about that. Lee Sin of old, that's not the case anymore in this season. The Lightning Red, the Cannon top lane, yes, not in a great spot, but GenG, they have only Gragas really to reliably stop the engage of the Cannon. And then, well, it's tough. Their team comp, they have bruisers, but they don't really have tanks. So Kana, he can get quite the nice ults there in the later stages. And with Faker on the Orianna and the Aphelios, they have all the late game damage and team fighting they need. So T1 completely jumping ships here from the early aggression and skirmishing, not team fighting at all that we saw in game number 1 and slightly in game number 2. Now continuing the road, going for more of a late game approach with these scaling options in the mid and bot lane position, solely for using Oner and Kana for a bit of early to mid game control to not completely give over the map. But this will be an exciting one. Will T1 or will it be GenG that comes out on top in this clash of the titans? Yes, in the standings they're a bit more afar than you usually expect these two to be, but obviously it's always a banger. It's T1, it's GenG, it's Game 3, so I'm excited here. Hope you are too, hope you're enjoying it so far, because that will absolutely be it for today. There's no Game 4, sadly. We will see that in the playoffs probably, but that's it as I mentioned. If you liked it today, please hit me up with the like. You know how it goes, YouTube algorithm not really supporting me as of now. And yeah, with a subscribe you can also always be here when the new content drops. I mean, why wouldn't you be? It's great here, it's really comfortable here. So make sure to do that. And that will be it for today. As I mentioned, you know how it goes, I always talk way too long. So shutting up and see you soon. Bye.